Hey VC, so I wanted to share with you a recent experience I had of shopping for records in downtown Kingston. So my name is Tara. I've recently joined the VC and I'm based in Kingston, Jamaica. So I want to just share with you uh, my experience recently, which was very interesting, and to share a couple of vinyl finds as well. So what really happened is that I recorded my first VC video perhaps about 2 weeks ago, and I shared it with my family. I shared it with my friends and family and my dad. And so I forwarded to him, my dad, the video and my introductory video. And he was so pleased with it that he sent it out to his friends. And so one of his friends wrote back and said, listen, what's Tara up to? Let me take Tara on a trip. And of course, I was beyond excited. So I'm like, yes, let's go on a trip. Car passing. So I arranged with my dad's friend, my kind of uncle of sorts, to take me out to on a kind of historical tour to look at records and to do a bit of a tour, just a historical tour of important, let's say, vinyl sites in Kingston, Jamaica. So, well, we first went to a place called Randy's Records. And if you are into Jamaican music, you might know that Randy's Records was a really huge, important kind of epicenter of Jamaican music in the 60s and 70s. So it was first a retail outlet for records, and it then became a studio. So it became Randy's Studio. So it was opened in 59, the retail outlet, and then the studio was opened 10 years later in 69. And so we went there, North Parade there, downtown Kingston. And of course, now it really is just a small room upstairs. That's what's left of it, really. And it's like walking into like a time machine, really, because it has all this old equipment, old pressing equipment. And so what I did was to take a few pictures, and I have them on my Instagram account, Tara's Turntable on Instagram, which I just started. So if you want to see those pictures, you can go ahead and look at that there. But all this old equipment, and Randy's Records was opened by a guy called Vincent Randy Chin. And so what happened is that when we went inside the old studio, the old store, his nephew was still in the store. And so his nephew is quite old now, but he gave us a tour of it. And the studio is quite important in the sense that a lot of, again, important music was produced there. And the studio was used by the likes of Bob Marley and the Wailers, Lee Perry, Lee Scratch Perry, Augustus Pablo, and even the Rolling Stones would have also recorded and visited the studio. So that was an amazing treat. Not much in there by way of music, to buy or anything, but just going and looking at this really important place in Jamaican history. So that was a huge treat. Then we were making our way to another record store. It's called Rockers International Records on Orange Street. But on the way there, because we're walking downtown, and on the way there, we run into, I don't know if you know, those of you perhaps who are into Jamaican music might know this, but the legendary Big Youth, so Big Youth, as we say in Jamaica, so Big Youth, he's on the corner of the street, and he's standing up there in his Louis Vuitton bag, and he's grinding up his herb and crushing up his herb, his weed, his cannabis, whatever you want to call it, his marijuana. And so he's there on the corner. So you have this Jamaican legend who is just casually on the corner standing up there. And that's just Jamaica for you, this amazing experience of just, running into all kinds of people. You don't know who you might meet. It's a small island, and so it's bound to happen. But Big Youth of S90 Skank fame, that was a huge hit here in Jamaica, the S90 Skank. But Big Youth is really known for, let's say, introducing sort of Rasta consciousness into the mainstream in a way, sort of, introducing Rasta consciousness into Jamaican sort of popular music of sorts, that he played an important role in that, meaning this sort of Rasta criticality and, well, attention to things like, well, what are you putting in your mind and in your body, that kind of thing. So he sees himself as being quite important for that, and, rightly so. But very important historical figure there. And so he was on the corner with his Louis Vuitton bag and his herb. So he took some pictures with big youths, and that was just a whole lot of fun. And then we went down to Rockers, which is a record store. And what happened was that Rockers wasn't actually open. Yeah, it's kind of strange because in this kind of COVID time, it's the opening hours of places is just a bit kind of, hit and miss there. You may find that some places open, and then you just don't know what time they're open. So it's that kind of thing. Anyway, it wasn't open. And I was hugely disappointed. But, you're downtown Kingston and you're in the community. And I said to a lady on the street, I said, who's by her stall, I said, where's the, can we get into this store? Who can let us in? And she's like, yeah, man, don't worry. And I'm going to call Mitchie for you. Call Mitchie. Mitchie is tied up because Mitchie is helping his daughter prepare for exams. But eventually, we speak to Mitchie on the phone, and Mitchie graciously agrees to open up the store and let us come in to look at some records and buy some records. So big up Mitchie, for that. And also big up my Uncle Ian for this wonderful experience. If you're watching this, Uncle Ian, thank you so much for a great day. So yeah, we went into Rockers, and that was an interesting experience too, because if you look at the photograph I have on Instagram, you'll notice that there is just no rhyme or reason in terms of how the records are sorted. You have all of these 45s on the shelves in no order at all. And then you have the LPs on the bottom. And so, like a real, committed vinyl head, I put up my hair and I got my hands dirty and kind of flipped through hundreds and hundreds of records in the store. So what really happened is that I didn't find a lot of Jamaican stuff, although I will show you what I did get from Rockers. But what happened is that I discovered a whole lot of just sort of soul records that really no one really wants. And so I had a blast just sort of going through those old soul records that no one really wanted. I mean, they're kind of just, as Mitchie explained to me, they're just harder to sell because no one really wants these old Sam Cookes or old whatever. But I want them, of course, so I will definitely do that. So there's no rhyme or reason. That there's no sort of sorting. Here is the label for this, label for that. Oh, here's jazz. Oh, here's funk. Here's soul. Here's this. Here's this. Here's that. None of that. There's no sort of, sorting in any order. So you have to just get your hands dirty and prepare to sort through. So I did that. When I was done, my hands were just completely blackened. And so Mitchie offered to just pour some water on my hands from a bottle. And that's how I managed to leave the store with some fairly clean hands after all of that digging. But the thing too was that I was discussing with Mitchie, we ended up talking about the kind of overall state of vinyl in Jamaica. And he was saying that, the virus has really put a big obstacle in his way in terms of just selling stuff. The usual inflow of people, especially from the UK, to buy records at Rockers, not happening, of course, because of the travel restrictions and just lockdown that we've all been subject to on account of COVID. So, that was pretty sad to see, but he's still pressing on, no pun intended. He's still doing a good job of just managing the store and keeping things in order. So really appreciate Mitchie and just that wonderful graciousness in allowing me to come into the store, even though he was quite busy and helping his daughter to prepare for exams. But I had a great time chatting to him and just going through the records. I mean, any Any vinyl head is just happy for a nice experience, a nice excursion of flipping through records. It's always fun. All right, so I will show you what it is that I got from Rockers when I went. So let's start with this. This is an Augustus Pablo record. I hope you're seeing that properly. So it's East of the River Nile, which was originally released in 1977. And so this is a 2020 repress, which I'm so happy to own. And this is dub music, classic dub music. Augustus Pablo is a really important figure here in terms of roots, reggae, and dub music, because he did something quite special. He is a player of the melodica, and so you may know his smash dub tune Java. In fact, what I'll do is just play a little sample for you of that tune. You might know that one. Those of you who are into dub music, let's pull that up for you really quickly. Right, so that's Java for you. That was released in 1972, that track, Java, and was produced at the studio at Randy's record studio. So there you see all of the kind of interconnectivities there, because Augustus Pablo would have been producing that track with the son of the proprietor of Randy's Records. So Randy's Records is owned by Vincent Chin, and his son Clive Chin would have produced that song along with Augustus Pablo, Java 72. So I picked up at Rockers now this record, East of the River Nile, that would have been originally released in 77. And as I said before, I got a 2020 repress. So I'm so happy with this. This record is fantastic. I love it. It plays just beautifully. Took it out. It's flawless, and it's just nice instrumental dub music that is just fantastic. So great one. And Mitchie made sure that I definitely did not leave without that in my hand. All right, so let me just take you through a couple of other things that I picked up from the store so you can see records that you know, but I'm still glad to have them. So I picked up this Sam Cooke, the best of Sam Cooke, which I wanted for a while. So as you can see, this is a really battered cover here, very, very battered and bruised, but the record is quite fine and intact. Took it out when I got home, and it plays just fine. And so it's been sitting down in Rockers for a very, very long time. No one wants these records apparently, except for me. So I'm happy to get this this Sam Cooke that I've wanted for quite a while. So yeah. And then of course you appreciate that Jamaicans just love soul music. Soul music is just a part of our DNA here. American soul music is what we love. And so Jamaican artists throughout time would have been very inspired by a lot of soul music, and that would have gone into our music here as well. So, and speaking of all of that, a Jamaican favorite, Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions. So Jamaicans love that. And, this music would have gone into a lot of what it is that we would have made. So this record is the ABC collection, Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions, and I'm just glad to have this one in my collection too. Then I also picked up this Otis Redding and Carla Thomas record, which I did not know about until very recently. So I'm a huge Otis fan. I've never heard of this record before, ever. That's a fun part of collecting music. There's always something to discover. So it was actually Isaac over at the Blind Island, love his channel, who introduced me to this record, and I had to have it. It's just wonderful duets with Otis Redding and Carla Thomas, kind of like akin to, as Isaac was sharing, Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell kind of thing. So this gorgeous record called King and Queen. And so I'm so happy to have this in my collection. Of course, sitting down, at Rockers, no one wants this. No one is coming to buy this, but me. So very happy about that. And then last but not least was just some Kenny Burrell, Round Midnight. So happy to have a little bit of jazz there, some Kenny Burrell in the collection as well. So I just picked this up because I know it's Kenny Burrell, so you pick it up. All right, so yeah, that was my experience. And what happened after that is that my uncle took me home. We had a blast. We played the records there on my TT. My turntable is called Angie, by the way. Her name is Angelica. So I don't know if you kind of personalize your equipment like that, but mine is definitely an Angie. So yeah, so we came back and we played some wonderful records here in my collection, and we had a blast, and we, had some nice brandy and, some other wonderful things to go along with listening to records. And so, but the day taught me something apart from just discovering records, folks, is that when you follow your excitement, when you follow your passion, it tends to just bring along other good things. So it was my passion for music and for vinyl records that created this experience of my uncle coming to kind of fetch me and take me on a tour. And when we got back, we had a really, really interesting conversation that was quite beneficial for me, just in terms of understanding certain things in my life. And it was a really, really fruitful exchange, but it wouldn't have happened if I was not, were I not interested in and passionate about my records. So, I'm just saying that following your passion tends to just result in the unfoldment of just more well-being and things that are beneficial for you. So with that said, folks, thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day. Talk soon. Bye.